What's going on with cruisers in Norway? That's what we talk about today on the Lido Loca Cruise Podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony with Lido Loca. Welcome back to the podcast, episode 20 coming at you. It's an interview episode. I've been spending some time talking to my cruising friends around the world during this crisis, and I wanted to know what's going on in Bodo, Norway. Cruising is starting to resume in Europe, and I thought I'd talk to our friends, the Midlife cruisers, Geir and Robin, to see how life has been going over the last few months in Norway. They share a lot of insights about how their country reacted to COVID-19. They also talk about what's going on with cruising, and of course, they tell us what their favorite cruise line is. And look, I've never been to Europe, so anytime I get a chance to talk to people from other places, I definitely enjoy it, and hopefully you will too. Without much further ado, here is my conversation with Robin and Geir, the Midlife cruisers from Bodo, Norway. All right, well, exciting times. I am here with my friends Geir and Robin, all the way from Bodo, Norway. Hopefully I'm saying Bodo right. Bodo, Norway. They are the Midlife cruisers. And just like the rest of us, they've been dealing with what's going on in the world. So I thought it would be fun to swing all the way over to Norway and say, what's going on? How are you guys doing today?
Good. Doing just great. We are on vacation. Not on a cruise, sadly, but...
what are you guys doing for vacation since you're not cruising?
No, we have decided this year just staying home, in fact. First we were planning to go to Sweden, but as you may know, Sweden has struggled a really tough time with the COVID-19, so Sweden is closed. And so
borders are closed.
Borders are closed to Sweden, so we couldn't even go there. So we just decided to be home and be local.
Make the most of it.
Make the most of it, yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so it brings up a great point. Of course, as a U.S. citizen here, I can't fly anywhere, really. I can't go anywhere. I can't go to Europe because of the challenges that we're having here. What's it like? Are you guys able to travel anywhere? Are there certain countries that you could go to right now? Or how's the situation over there where you're at in Norway?
Everything's opening up now on the 15th of July. And then we'll have travel to and from Denmark.
Yeah, the Nordic countries except Sweden, but Norway is being open basically to the whole Schengen area. That is
EU.
The EU area. So
for the countries that haven't had any, I think it's less than 25 per 100,000 cases, of COVID. So those who have low COVID numbers.
Well, let's address it real quick. So, Robin, if people don't know, you're not Norwegian. You were born in the United States?
Canada. I'm Canadian.
Canada. That's what I couldn't remember. I'm like, I know she's North American. Okay, so how did you make it from Canada? I'm assuming, look at handsome Geir there. I'm assuming he swept you off your feet and took you to Norway. What's the story there? How did you go from Canada to Norway, and how long ago was that?
Same way you met your wife, actually.
Oh.
We met on Merck way back in 1997.
Nice.
I moved here, I was 25 years old. So that's 22 years ago.
Now, I noticed from your social media that you're a fan of 90 Day Fiancé. And my wife and I just started watching 90 Day Fiancé. Is there any aspects of that show that overlay your relationship? Did you have to jump through any weird immigration hurdles to go from Canada to Norway? Did you have to have a period where you just prove that you were in love before you could move, that kind of thing?
It's not the same as going to the States in that sense, but I had to prove I wasn't married. That was fun. And then he had to sign over total financial responsibility for me.
Wow.
And I think that's the same though in the States, that when they're going over that for 10 years, something that. So he has to prove that he can take care of me financially for the time before I can start working.
But we didn't need to go through any interview processes or something like that.
No.
Very nice.
She basically moved over here and registered with Norwegian authorities. And
after the first 4 years, every year you have to kind of check in that you're still living at the same place or whatever. And then after 4 years, you get residency or settlement. Yeah. So
nice.
Basically, I have all the rights to as a Norwegian. But now I'm actually, I am a Norwegian now.
Do you have dual citizenship? Or?
No, Norway wouldn't allow dual citizenship. So I gave up my Canadian citizenship because once we had kids and we were traveling in Europe with the EU and Schengen and trying to go, I wasn't allowed to travel with my family. I'd have to go in a different area. So it just made sense. Yeah. So I had to actually give up my Canadian citizenship.
It's so fascinating. And, you know how it is. Like, so from the United States, we don't really travel abroad so much because our states are like going to different countries. And so a lot of these things we don't encounter. So fascinating, but exciting at the same time. So Norway has done pretty well with the COVID-19. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement. 8,000 people that has been diagnosed with COVID in Norway.
So 8,000 cases in Norway. What steps did the country take in the beginning? Like, when did you guys become aware of it, and what did you see the country doing to? Did they get ready for it? Did it? There seem like there was a level of preparedness, or what? Why do you think the numbers are so low comparative to other countries around you, or even the United States?
I will say that Norway was quite prepared. Norway closed down the same day as the WHO defined it as a pandemic. So from March 12th,
it's the day after.
Yeah, schools and everything closed down in Norway. Preparedness, I think preparedness was pretty okay. I see Robin shaking her head a little, but
you always, like, in hindsight, see things that could have been. We were following it closely because of the cruising community, of course. We were on a cruise in January. We 2 weeks after we were in Italy, 2 weeks after we got home, it blew up in Italy. It was like everywhere. Everybody was sick and the numbers were rising and drastically. So we were following it very, very closely. So I was thinking, okay, it's coming. When we have the winter break, people were encouraged to just live life as normal and go and travel. They're the ones that brought it into Norway.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The people who went to
especially ski tourists,
Switzerland and northern Italy. Yeah. So that's what brought it basically into the country.
Wow.
So it could have been stopped before then, but like I said, our numbers have been low, and they took control immediately and started tracing.
The curve flattened quickly. I think it's less than 10 people in hospital care.
9, I think, actually.
COVID in Norway, in the whole country.
That's awesome. Well, those numbers have allowed some cruising to begin in Norway again. What's the state of cruising in Norway right now? What cruise lines are going out? Anything close to you guys?
We have the Hurtigrute that goes, but for Norwegians, it's used mostly as a kind of a ferry boat because they pick up people in every port, and so it's like an extension of the highway on the sea. So it kind of brings, and it also brings goods and stuff too. So, but we
haven't seen anything so far this year. I know that Hurtigruten is starting an expedition with their new ship to Svalbard up in the Arctic.
To see the polar bears.
Yeah, that goes, I think the first cruise from Tromsø, that is a city a little bit north of us, is going on the 17th of July.
Okay.
So that has been a possibility. I said to Robin, we should have gone on it.
If we had known then, or we would have booked something like that, because that would be a very exciting trip.
Is that the Roald Amundsen? Is that their new ship?
Yeah, that's their one. Yeah, so the expedition ship that is planned to be used in both the Arctic and the Antarctica.
That ship is a little different than the regular one, the coastal steamer that's coming up and down the coast here.
It has a little bit more flair and a little bit more like a ship. I mean, most of the Hurtigrute that is traveling along the coast every day in Norway are not really cruise ships. They are
freighters, or I can't even say that too. They're nice inside and stuff, but they are a ferry boat. You can drive your car onto it and it brings you to the next stop. Most people here get on it in Bodø and go to Lofoten and get off there and drive their car.
So they have overnight stays, entertainment, anything that feels like a regular, like a normal leisure cruising, I would say, anything like that? Or is it really just a ferry kind of feel?
You can buy like pension. So you can buy food on board or like a food package on board. And they have bars. You can buy drinks on board. There's no casino. There's a game room.
Yeah, there is no organized.
There's no
entertainment really.
They have like fun like activities every once in a while. Like you can be baptized. Like when you go across the Arctic Circle, they'll make you drink cod liver oil, that kind of thing. If they go into the Troll Fjord, then there's a drink that a special drink that you can cheers with, or So they have little activities, but it's not like a cruise ship. I wouldn't call it a cruise ship like that. But like I said, these expedition trips, these expedition boats are a little different. We don't quite know how they work because it's a fairly new thing for Hurtigruten.
Yeah, I've done some research on that new ship, and there's a lot of technology there, but it almost seems like you're going on a science trip, right? Like you're going to be a scientist. So even that doesn't seem exactly like, kind of leisure cruising. It sounds exciting though. It sounds like a lot of fun, but yeah, it sounds a little different. Now I know you guys have cruised in the Mediterranean. Have you cruised to the Caribbean? Have you come to the States and cruised to the Caribbean? Do you have both of those experiences?
No, not yet. We have a cruise booked in January, the Oasis of the Seas from Fort Lauderdale in January, but
we really want to go, but we don't know if. I think our biggest fear is that even if cruising is starting up, that we'll have to be quarantined if we come back into Norway, and we don't have enough vacation to do that at that time. In the summertime, you have a little more allowances, but when you're taking vacation at that time, it's a little more difficult, so we wouldn't be able to.
Tony, it's 5 weeks paid vacation in Norway. So
don't tell me that. Well, that's
three of those have to be in the summer. So
is that any job as soon as you start, or do you have to work a period of time before you get that, or is that pretty standard?
Every Norwegian is entitled to 5 weeks paid vacation. Geir with his job, because he has to work so much overtime, he has actually 7 weeks.
Very nice. Yeah, I think the most vacation I ever had was 5 weeks of vacation, but I worked for the company 9 or 10 years before I got up to 5 weeks. So we would start with just 2 weeks of vacation, and then they would make you put in all the time to get up to the and this is why I work out of my bedroom now, because I want 5 weeks of vacation. How inquisitive have your employers been? Like, right when all this happened, did they say, look, you have to tell us when you travel, that kind of thing?
It's actually not your workplace that decides whether you go in quarantine or not. It's the government that's decided that even other people traveling from other places into Norway had to go into. When they first closed the borders and everything, even if you were going from province to province or state to state in Norway, you had to go into quarantine whenever you came in, because some areas had a huge number of people that were sick and then others didn't. So you were basically quarantined for 14 days if you moved between cities.
It was a big difference between northern and southern Norway in the beginning. The southern part of Norway had much more cases, and the northern part of Norway had very, very few cases. So if you travel from south to north, you had to go into quarantine.
We've been very, very lucky up here.
Are those facilities like set aside by the government for people to quarantine at, or were they asking you just to say self-quarantine at your home? They
used hotels and stuff.
Yeah, we have used hotels a little bit. In my line of work, we have had people put into hotels and stuff like that. So there have been quarantine facilities that is organized from the local government. Yes.
Yeah. So with your case number so low, is life starting to get back to normal, other than travel restrictions, some of the ways that you like to travel not being open? Is it starting to feel like it was before the pandemic, or are you guys still feeling like life is a little different?
I don't feel like because of where we live and stuff, the disruption has been minimal. And I know that it was further in the Oslo area and in that area. But up here, I mean, they closed the schools and preschools down in all of Norway immediately. Preschools, they started opening again after 5 weeks.
In April.
Yeah.
Late April.
Right after Easter. I work in early childhood education, so I work in a preschool. So then we had to go back to work. And then the schools opened, I think, a week after that. And there's a lot of things that you have to think about. So it's not regular days as it was before. You have to disinfect everything, and you have to work in smaller groups. And so there's a lot of things to think about. I know that the US is starting to think about opening up schools and stuff now. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
But it's, so that was different. Going back to work was different. Geir has been at work the whole time because he works in city management. So his job was to organize everything. So in that sense, but the grocery stores, we haven't had this whole thing where you have to wait outside, and we don't use masks in Norway yet. That might change now if the numbers go up again in the fall. There's you have to disinfect your hands everywhere you go, and you're supposed to hold, at first it was 2 meters distance. Now we're down to 1 meter. And I guess the thing too, that you couldn't spend time with family, that also was only for the first 6 weeks or something. And then they opened that up too, so that you could, in smaller groups. So you can have up to 20 people in your home.
Yeah, 20 people in your home.
Yeah.
So it's still not really normal, but.
But I mean, how often do you have more than 20 people in your home? It's
right. Exactly.
It's more normal than anything. But I feel like I want to be able to wear a mask, because when I'm going to the store, I feel that people are, because we haven't been that affected, they're not considering now, when tourists are starting to come to Norway, they're not considering the social distancing. So they're not holding that distance that they should be doing. And it's a little unnerving. So.
Yeah, I mean, being here in the heart of Florida now, I don't really go anywhere, and when I do, I make sure that I do the precautions. But I mean, tons of tourism in Florida. There's just all kinds of people coming here, and of course, our numbers are going up. And I definitely get the unnerving aspect of it. I'll be excited when some sort of treatment or vaccine comes along, and at least it'll give me a little more sense of security. But. So let's talk about something fun to round it out. Let's talk about cruising. What do you guys love about cruising? What are some of your favorite? Why do you guys like cruising? What are some of your favorite aspects of cruising? And what's your favorite cruise line? How about that?
Geir actually just made a video on on our favorite cruise line, but we like Royal so far. That's kind of our. We've only been on 3 cruise lines.
Royal, Embassy, and.
Yeah, true, but we love all of them, so it's it's hard to pick a favorite. But our favorite is Royal.
Yeah, you have to say
it's our first love.
We started out in 2013. That was our first cruise with. Then Liberty of the Seas was in fact in Europe. I know that it's in Texas now. I think been there for a while. And we just have to say that we loved it from day one. We really found out that this was our kind of vacation. And it was, especially for me that has a stressful job and stuff, I really felt that I was on vacation on a cruise. It's harder for them to track him down. They don't manage to get and stuff like that. And I felt that I really could relax on a cruise. And I mean, what's not to love about a cruise?
You have everything you need right there. You have entertainment,
you have great food, you have a lot of activities. And
nice people. And
and
your every whim is like, how can we help you? How can we help you? How can you not love that?
And your hotel bed is stopping in a new city every morning.
Exactly.
So, no, it was something we thought we would like to cruise, and we really found out that cruising was.
We are definitely cruisers.
Can't argue with that. I've only been on 2 Royal Caribbean ships, but I love them both, so I could see the appeal of that. And it's I'm still in that mode where I want to try a bunch of different cruise lines, but if you pushed me in a corner and said pick your top 2 or 3 favorites, Royal would definitely be at the top of the list there. So you guys have been to some fantastic places. I mean, at least for us, like going to the Mediterranean seems like a big trip for us, and I know you guys are closer there, but what are some trips that you want to go on that you haven't gone on that are really like, oh, this is a cruise that I have to take? Like, what's on your bucket list for a cruise?
Caribbean, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to get out on that end. I want to do Greece again.
Greek islands.
The Greek islands again, and Venice. Venice is amazing. We like Barcelona too, so it's kind of like that's one. But
Barcelona is the easiest port for us to get to,
and it's the best cruise port ever.
You can fly from Oslo directly to Barcelona. You can do that in Rome as well, but I mean, the cruise port in Barcelona is basically downtown, so
7 minutes from the city
center.
Wow!
So it's very practical. We did do Rome now on the MSC Grandiosa in January, and that's an hour outside
of the cruise port.
But it worked okay. We took the train out from the center of Rome.
But Rome is Rome is Rome.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I would love to take one out of Southampton. Doesn't have to be any specific cruise line either. And I would love to do Ireland and Iceland.
That's true.
I would really like to go up that way and kind of take a northern, especially in the summer, because the Mediterranean is hot in the summer. So to be able to have a more like temperate, so it's not like killing you heat, would be really, really nice for one summer.
Yeah, absolutely. But you asked about a bucket list. I even would have done a Norwegian fjord cruise, being from Norway. It would have
gives
been
a different perspective, I guess.
Absolutely. I cruised in Asia, maybe from Singapore to Thailand, Vietnam.
You wanted to go to Vietnam,
Yeah, Asia was pretty amazing. It wasn't like anything that I'd ever experienced before. I would recommend it. I mean, it's an old culture and at the same time a very modern culture, and it's to see those two things like kind of juxtaposed against each other. It was really interesting. For me, all I know is hot cruising, right? So I've only cruised in the Caribbean other than my Asian cruise, and it was still kind of hot in Asia. But yeah, some of those things that you guys are talking about. As someone who's never been to Europe and never cruised in Europe, what would you recommend of a first-time person to Europe? Where should I go? Where should I cruise out of? What would be my best cruise experience as a newbie when it comes to Europe?
We had this with our friends from Canada last year because we were planning a cruise together, and it was like, where do you want to go? Well, of course, we had to choose we had to choose an Oasis class ship. It's their first cruise ever. It's like, what are we going to do? We love Oasis class. It's our absolute favorite class of ship. So, of course, it was Oasis class. And we chose Barcelona because the city is fascinating. It's beautiful. Even though it's warm, there's a kind of breeze like a constant breeze. So it's never like it's hot, but it's not too bad. And it's easy. It's like it's the easiest port.
The city is accessible. The port are accessible. It's a lot to
and there's tons of cruise ships there too. Yeah. So like your pick is like there's tons of different options there, and it's the routes are fairly. We've done them so many times now. It's like the same cities over and over again. So we're just happy when we can get one that's like a little different stop here, but. No, I would say out of Barcelona, at least for your first one in Europe. It's easy. It makes it more simple. And then you can choose if you want to, like Rome is an hour out, but you can always book an excursion or something to go see it. The problem with European cruises or Mediterranean cruises is they're very, very hectic because they're very port heavy.
Yeah, they are.
We're looking forward to going to the Caribbean because it's like 3 sea days and then, you can go off on this beautiful island. And here, when you go to Europe, you want to see as much as possible, which means that you're up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you're on an excursion and you're going. So if you can do a back-to-back so you can spread it out a little and enjoy the ship too, it's probably a lot easier.
But do you really want to see those places it stops? I mean, it stops in Florence, it stops in Rome. Naples, they are
Marseille in France. It's like you're hitting so many big places that you really want to see.
You sold me. I'm coming to Barcelona as soon as I can.
You guys come
next
to
year.
Barcelona, we'll meet you there, and we'll be your tour guides.
Yeah, well, that's, I wasn't going to say it out loud, but yes, if I ever go to Europe, I'm going to be looking for friends to help get me around. So that'll be very
Absolutely.
cool. Well, you guys are also content creators. You guys are cruise tubers. I love that term. You guys make the cruise videos, Midlife Cruisers. That is your YouTube channel. I would encourage everybody to go check it out. Do you guys enjoy documenting your cruises? What was your motivation behind that? And how long you been making cruise videos?
You guys were kind of the inspiration. Geir has always made videos for parties, and like he's always been into making fun videos and stuff like that. But whenever we started checking out cruise videos and stuff like that, I stumbled upon because we were going to go on the Oasis, so I stumbled upon your Oasis vlog, and it was like, oi, this is cool. And so I showed Geir, and we kind of got hooked, started watching you guys all the time. And then he said, we started looking for things in Europe, and there's hardly anything in Europe if it's not in Italian, or if it's not in German, or if it's not there's not a lot of vlogs for European cruises in English. So that was kind of the catalyst that was like, let's try and see.
And it was also the idea of just documenting a little bit cruises. It's fun.
Anytime we want to like check out like a home video or something, we can just go on YouTube and
I love that aspect of it. My poor kids, they look at me like, look, we've got enough video now. Okay, thanks. I know you're making a lot of video, but my kids all loved YouTube until I got on it, and then it's not cool anymore. I don't know what happened, but well, guys, I appreciate you taking the time, letting me know what's going on in Norway. I'm glad you guys are safe over there, and I hope that someday we'll get on a cruise ship together. Thank you guys so much. Really good to talk to you.
We're praying for you guys over there. We're praying for you guys over there. I hope that that the numbers start to go down, and that things get better soon. Yeah,
I appreciate it. I mean, we're definitely at that point where something's got to give, and hopefully it gives in the right direction. So I definitely appreciate the kind words.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was fun. These guys have been our friends virtually for a long time. I can't wait to meet them in real life, go on a cruise. As you can see, the world copes differently with what's going on with the pandemic. And at least where they're at, there's starting to be signs of life when it comes to cruising. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today. If you want to support our creative efforts, there's a few ways to do that. You can get yourself some Lido Loca merch. You can join us over on Patreon for some extra content, or you can use us for your travel services. There will be information for all of those things in the show notes or linked in the video description below. And hey, if you are a YouTube viewer of the podcast, please subscribe to the channel that you're watching right now and hit the like button. And if you're listening on audio, please take a moment and give us a rating on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. Thank you guys so much for stopping by episode 20 of the Lido Loca Cruise podcast. My name's Tony, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.